Care to stay fully up to date on new and upcoming videos and what's going on over at Patreon? Be sure to follow our Twitter account at the Cinema Snob, where we always let you know all about our new videos and site news. Follow us today at twitter.com/thecinemasnob.
Oh, if your prom was canceled last school year, it was, probably for the best. Ah, what the hell? Who moved to that? Bolero? I'm not watching this! Stephen King's Carrie is a masterpiece of horror cinema and horror literature. The 1974 novel was King's first book, and in 1976 became the first movie adaptation of a King novel. It's the story of becoming a woman in the 70s, religious abuse, bullying, popularity, and what happens when Charlotte isn't around to save Wilbur the pig. Not only do we have immense talent in front of the camera with Sissy Spacek in the title role and Piper Laurie as her mother Margaret, but the film was directed by Brian De Palma, at the time off of Phantom of the Paradise and Sisters. The film's adapted screenplay was by Lawrence D. Cohen, who would later work on the teleplays for It, The Tommyknockers, and Nightmares and Dreamscapes. A brilliant marketing campaign also helped this $1 million film become highly profitable with a $33 million worldwide gross. If you've got a taste for terror, take Carrie to the prom? Oh no, I learned my lesson when I took Mary Lou to the prom. I can still smell the burning flesh. The moral will always be, don't piss off the isolated girl with telekinetic powers. She may not destroy the whole town like she does in the book, but she's still going to severely mess shit up. I need to keep stalling because I gotta make sure of something first. I need to double check to make sure I didn't accidentally put in Debbie Does Dallas. Happens all the time. Okay, this is Carrie. It doesn't matter if you're a horror film, a porno, or a comedy. In the 70s, you're gonna see naked, frolicking teens in the locker room. I think one of the only things I can show in the credits scene is this still of a naked locker. It was then Margaret White immediately dragged her daughter out of the theater showing this film. A naked, showering Sissy Spacek isn't quite what you would see in Coal Miner's Daughter, but maybe in Country Music Daughter. This is the famous opening scene where Carrie White gets her first period in the shower, and it's such a disturbing sequence of hardcore bullying, I wish I could show more. I could show more the first 5 minutes of E.T. the porno than this film. Though I can show the girls screaming, "Plug it up." I can relate. I remember the mean science nerds doing this to me when they wanted me to shove beakers up my ass. Coach Debbie Boone, by the way, is having none of this.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
You want to get a poker shoved through your head in an inferior sequel? Cut it out! This does a brilliant job of setting up Carrie as an outcast, and Nancy Allen as Chris, one of the greatest screen bullies of all time. This drama is so traumatic it interrupts cigarette class, mandatory at the time. Carrie is clearly given 3 days detention for not relieving her stress with a good old-fashioned Marlboro menthol.
We're all sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
Make that 4 days detention. His wife's ashes were in that tray. It's weird going back this far. Young Michael Myers was far less subtle when following around girls after school.
Creepy, Carrie!
Great, you just got PJ Souls killed. Piper Laurie is great in this. She's totally method. She goes right to Amy Irving's real-life mother, Priscilla Pointer. You may think she'd warn people about Carrie, but she's far more interested in the little-talked-about exploits of Ruby. Margaret White is such a fanatic, her idea of the Sunday funnies are the chick tracts.
These are godless times, Mrs. Snell. I'll drink to that.
Alcohol's okay. She just wants money to invest in this set of bootlegs of Estes Perkle sermons. The White's home itself is a haunting design that's realistic and looks like it has bodies under the floorboards. The soundtrack by Pino Donaggio makes every scene 5 times more disturbing, complete with Margaret White being like if Mommy Dearest was the star of a set of Pureflix movies and not old Hollywood. In one scene alone, you can see how these two were each nominated for Oscars.
No, Mama!
Eve was weak.
No!
Eve was weak.
She's like if Nurse Ratched went to the church from Red State and not to medical school. Carrie may be punished for getting her first period, but on the bright side, Delbert Grady will get her out of that locked room. After she prays to the world's creepiest statue of Robert Powell, plus 7 years bad gym class. Wow, does this take me back? A pencil, paper, an eraser? Those were the days. Just like Peter Frampton being distracted about whether he should accept a role in that Sgt. Pepper film. At least Carrie is participating in class, kinda.
Class, any criticisms?
It's beautiful.
What a weird thing to say about Desaad's 120 Days of Sodom. The other girls are having a much worse day. Coach Collins, played by Betty Buckley, is punishing them for picking on Carrie and for eyeballing her lemon drink. This is really upsetting the school librarian, and the janitor is just trying to wipe peace, love, and granola off the walls. At least with their punishment, they'll be getting in shape for the prom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3.
Why do I feel like I keep accidentally switching over to HOTS? Odd choice that this takes place at TNA Academy from Screwballs. And why do you keep punishing the librarian? Carrie may be wanting to look up telekinesis, but really, if she wants to get back at these mean girls, just slap them in the face. It's what the coach does. After realizing the David Copperfield book has nothing to do with magic, she decides to skip the books and just watch Friday the 13th Part 7 instead. To make it up to Carrie, Sue Snell wants William Catt, as popular kid Tommy, to ask Carrie to the prom. He has to! It's part of his job as the greatest American hero. I remember when the theme song to my show was the theme from Carrie. And just when I thought this movie couldn't get any better, hell yes, John Travolta is in this! Hot off starting Welcome Back Kotter in '75, this was Travolta's first big movie role as Billy, the psycho boyfriend of Psycho Chris, but knows how to party like he's with the Hollywood Knights. If you weren't tossing a beer back and forth, were you really driving in '76? Who cares if the cops are nearby? Agreed, Travolta is far too cool to pull over for drunk driving. However, he is playing an asshole.
I told you not to call me that.
Look out!
Young Adventures of Gotti really do show that Gotti was a dick in high school. These two were spending their evening right. I remember that Saved by the Bell when Zach finds out he's part Native American. As for the more sinful Barbarino portion of the night,
Done shit!
I thought I told you never to call me that.
Bastard! While Carrie may consider going to the prom with Tommy, as long as he doesn't take her to his weird house afterwards, Coach Collins is concerned that this is a prank, and that she was promised to go to the prom with Tommy. And PJ Souls is totally interrupting. Naturally, she agrees to go so long as Tommy doesn't have better hair than hers. Impossible. Billy, meanwhile, is getting back at the pig who turned him down for prom. I feel like this pig's blood is gonna play into things later.
I can't, you. Oh, I knew it. I knew this would happen. It's just you.
It was then that they decided to just dump a dozen banana cream pies on her head. Even the disciples are all gossiping about Tommy taking Carrie to the prom. It's best she tells Mom. I don't see that being terrifying.
I've been invited to the prom.
Prom.
Perhaps the time to tell her isn't during the appropriately placed thunderstorm. Well, hey, this conversation's going better than I thought, but I'm still gonna take a break so I can shit my pants. It's what Jesus would have wanted.
We will return to Sissy Spacek and John Travolta in Carrie.
Now that we're back, Billy is gonna be in so much trouble. No, not for teen drinking or slapping his girlfriend or killing a pig.
Yes, ma'am. We's doing the best we can. We really are, boss.
Because he is hereby canceled from all school activities due to that joke. There's really no excuse for things to go wrong. Look, Michael Talbot is one of the students. He was Detective Switek on Miami Vice. Although Chris is in the background, seriously wondering how all these grown-ass adults are infiltrating the school. Although Edie McClurg has been promoted from librarian to Principal Ed Rooney's secretary, I think the prom is gonna go down perfectly. Margaret White's already distracted in a grocery store, and this was well before the Jamie Lee Curtis movie invented traumatic proms. Plus, they're gonna 70s the shit out of prom preparation. Tommy looks fantastic as my dad's wedding picture, and all of this happened on the same day they invented hipsters. Every scene shows how perfect Sissy Spacek is, who won the role from leaving her face unwashed and rubbing Vaseline in her hair in the audition. There's a huge arc to her transitioning between her disturbed look in the first and second acts and growing really pretty by the climax. Whatever, wouldn't it be way easier for Carrie to already look like the prom queen like in the 2013 film? I, for one, would never want to miss the Love Under the Stars, Now Let's Blow This Taco Stand prom. And their midnight screenings review is much better, significantly less slapping and oral sex. As for the music, boo, play some Alan Parsons Project. Boy, are they gonna regret washing their suits in a machine full of pure gasoline. And when the hell is she gonna fight Jason Voorhees? Things aren't all bad outside the prom. Sue has a date with a hot director who made some shark movie. And Carrie continues to bond with other students and the coach.
I remember my prom.
I should hope she should remember. Betty Buckley is only 3 years older than Sissy Spacek. Hell, she's younger than some of the students.
Hey, what's going on here, huh? What are you doing with my date?
Legit question. Everyone's old enough to fight over Tommy. But we must still find out who the asshole is who spiked the vodka with fruit punch. The start of the prom sequence is genuinely sweet. What started as a favor that he didn't really want to do in taking Carrie to the prom, Tommy grows to like her more and more over the scene, which makes it heartbreaking when you know what happens later. See what I mean? He's cheating on Sue Snell! Trivia note, this is one of the only prom scenes in movie history to not be playing 80s music. 'Cause it's 1976! Anyway, serious talk, they are rigging the election for prom king and queen. Ain't no way we're letting Tracy Flick be prom queen. The acting with her eyes alone is fantastic as she goes from being shocked that they're on the ballot to, maybe I want to be prom queen. Don't worry, there's still things that set me up for a juvenile joke. Ooh. Personally, I think the janitor has it worse. He was supposed to be drinking beer under the stage, but Travolta took that away from him. After chucking away some ballots, Carrie and Tommy easily win prom king and queen. I bet this turns out fine. Or maybe not, the music is changing and they're out of beer. It's that she is sadistically salivating at the desire to dump pig's blood on Carrie that makes Nancy Allen one of my favorite screen bullies. Good God, the build-up itself is almost as terrifying as the revenge scene. Oh no, you get out of here. Think of the insurance payoff. That's a big oops. Oh, what are you laughing at? You're wearing a hat to prom. And not even a hit on the head damages the gorgeousness of Tommy's hair. This seems to be tailor-made for girls who possibly had a tough time in high school.
God, I hate it when Mom is right.
The betrayal that Debbie Boone is really Anne Murray messes with her the most. This triggers the telekinesis and triggers the Brian De Palma. The red lighting, standing there with minimal movement, the terrifying look on her face, the split screen, the effects. It's one of the most brilliantly edited horror sequences of the 70s. But let's make her wave her arms like a magician and throw in some shitty CGI. Prom horror or no horror, it was inevitable that Cheswick was gonna get shock treatment. As for the others, she'll be fine. She's in the 1988 Broadway musical. It's a perfect climax because the film loves and respects its characters so much and gives them a great build-up. If this were made in 2020, this would be the opening shot, and it would cut to black to say 2 weeks earlier. I don't know why these two are so upset. They're prom king and queen by default. Well, maybe not. I've seen Blowout, another great film, but the combination of Travolta and De Palma never works out well for the Nancy Allen character in the end. It's nice of Mom to set the mood. However, there really has been enough fire hazards for one night. First things first, she needs to wash off the blood from also killing the rapist from I Spit on Your Grave. Speaking of, one of them might have been Carrie's father.
The stink of the Roadhouse whiskey on his breath. And I liked it. I liked it.
You know, I'm starting to think this poor kid doesn't stand a chance in hell at a normal life. She's been stabbed in the back by everybody else, why not literally? It was then Sissy Spacek knew she should have traded her mom in for herself as the trading mom. Originally, the movie was going to be bookended with stones falling from the sky and onto the house, similar to the novel. But really, as a movie, it's already terrifying enough with this image of her psychotic mother chasing after her, and then stabbed to death with the wounds of Christ. I really don't think they need the Stone Storm. This movie is so good that if the Razzies were around, they would have nominated it for Worst Director. This may seem like closure, but every other Amityville movie has taught me that just because the house gets destroyed doesn't mean there still can't be a ton of follow-ups. With Carrie and her mom added to the list of the deceased, Sue is definitely not up for giving her prom queen by default speech. However, a dream sequence will do, inspired by Deliverance and filmed backwards to add to the dreamlike mood. Harsh, Carrie White burns in hell? Margaret White, however, maybe purgatory. Do you really need me to set you up for one of the most famous movie stingers of all time? Joke's on you, I'm wearing diapers! And thus Sue wakes up from her horrific nightmare of what happens when you follow the red brick road. This is one of the greatest horror films of the 1970s. It's a horror classic that ever since its release has been highly acclaimed by critics and audiences. It's a supernatural horror film about how teen years and high school itself can be quite the horror film even before the prom massacre. And Stephen King called it pretty good, which means it's great. The film and the book are inspiring enough that of course there's a TV version and a shitty sequel and a shitty 2013 film. Just make sure you watch the correct version. For instance, the 1952 Olivier version takes far too many liberties. Oh, and since it was a giant hit, that means there are definitely knockoff films. Yeah, that Carrie was pretty good, but why couldn't she have gotten her revenge by controlling a bunch of snakes? When we come back, we'll see who wins in a battle of teen angst between Carrie and Jennifer.
She doesn't want to believe it.
All of the congregation was amazed at your power.
She doesn't want to remember it. And now they've made her mad. Jennifer, rated PG.
1976's Carrie may be on several best lists, such as Empire's 50 Greatest Movies, Entertainment Weekly's 50 Best High School Films, and Bravo and AFI's Scariest Movies lists. But we're not talking about that now. We're talking about the 1978 blatant Carrie knockoff Jennifer, which I'm sure is on a list of movies that are named Jennifer. Carrie is a lonely outcast, Jennifer is a lonely outcast.
Carrie went to a high school and was bullied by mean girls. Jennifer goes to a boarding school and is bullied by mean girls. Carrie had a psycho-religious mother. Jennifer has a psycho-religious father. The coach bonded with Carrie. The science teacher bonds with Jennifer. There's a prom party in Carrie and there's a disco club in Jennifer. Other than that, they are nothing alike. Jennifer is played by Lisa Pelican, who has experience in playing title characters starting with J. She was young Julia in Julia. The film was written by actress Kate Cousins, who appeared on Climax, no, not on that episode, and is from a story by Steve Krantz, who also has a producer and story credit on the other Carrie knockoff Ruby that actually stars Piper Laurie. The director was Bryce Mack, known for being a background artist on such Disney classics as Peter Pan and Lady and the Tramp, but also directed, Swap Meet? Were Swap Meets the orgy clubs of the 70s? Rooster Spurs of Death? What does any of this have to do with a rooster? Half a house? Does a house break up with itself? I love this man's career. Although in the case of Jennifer, I can't tell if I'm watching a movie or a hair commercial. Carrie had a house that looked like it hid dead bodies. This house looks like it actually hides dead bodies. Probably because it looks like it could be featured in Hoarders. And is home to the world's most depressing pet shop and the world's most depressing theme song.
In the shadow of the city lights, speaking softly.
I hope it turns out it's the kitten singing. And if you're confused about the title, don't worry, her name is in the theme.
Jennifer, Jennifer.
I got it. I'm watching Jessica. There is magic in her name.
There's magic in your name.
Is there? Because it sounds like you're slitting your wrist just singing about her. Oh, but Jennifer makes Carrie look like an angel.
Must be why Carrie's an R and Jennifer is a PG.
Jennifer is a student at Greenview Academy, which also has the evil Sandra.
Y'all keep y'all hillbilly mouth shut now, you hear?
I don't understand what she's saying, but I'm guessing it's really bitchy.
Too bad they look more like the teachers having a meeting than the students hanging out. And the school itself just looks like they rented out Union Station for the day. As for the actual teachers, I don't know what their damage is.
Shall I wear my pink dress at the faculty tea? You always look sweet in that pink dress.
Would you two like a moment? Principal Meryl Streep? Also like Carrie, there's a mandatory smoking class. This looks like an after-school special and sounds like one too.
You'll pay, won't you, Jamie? Want some speed?
Just say no to Carrie knockoffs.
It's so 70s the teacher looks like Jamie Gillis. Mr. Reed is played by Bert Convey, Gucci-owning the shit out of his publicity photo. This looks like if the 1970s itself had an IMDb page. Sandra is caught cheating instantly. Maybe she shouldn't have had her notes just sitting right there on the table. She's got a date to be slapped across the face by Coach Collins. Good thing her dad is Senator Sam Loomis. No, this Sam Loomis. Makes sense. Carrie featured the shower music.
Well, it seems we have a little problem.
Must be some mistake. No Tremaine's ever had a problem like that.
Is everyone shit-faced in this movie? I have the feeling her dad, Sam Elliott, is.
Beware the mask of beauty.
Dad, Margaret White is never gonna go out with you. Stop trying to impress her. Unlike Carrie's mom, though, Jennifer's dad actually likes his daughter's supernatural abilities. He uses a snake to try to speak to her, 'cause that's never gone wrong in the Bible. And Senator Tremaine wants the school to do something about that damn Jennifer. As a senator, he has nothing better to do with his time. I think he's the worst parent in the movie.
Maybe, sugar. Maybe. You can't.
Are they having an affair? Gross! They may be enemies now, but soon Rory Gilmore and Paris Geller will be the best of friends. After the bullying, of course. Is the womp womp drum really necessary? Please tell me there's gonna be a boing in the revenge scene. Hell, they try making it look like Jennifer intentionally spilled soup on her. Stop doing this shit in front of everyone who witnesses what you're doing.
I don't think we want to get Jennifer into trouble for this, do we?
If you say so, Jeff.
Are they all having an affair? And what I said about the 70s always having naked, frolicking teens also applies here. PG or R didn't matter back then. There's going to be nudity. But why stop there? Why not directly reference an actor from Carrie?
Imagine turning down John Travolta.
He's not so much.
Excuse me, I think Billy has something to say about that.
You fuck!
They do have hot dates. I'm sure douchebag Von Ruhypnol is a much better catch than Billy. Isn't there anyone around to stop this sneaking out?
Hey man, one of them could get killed. So what?
They only investigate snake-driven crimes. I can see why they sang about Jennifer in the opening. I've already forgotten she's the title character. The real title character is 1978. Since Jennifer controls animals, I hope that also includes controlling the disco duck. They don't need telekinesis to turn the room blood red. The disco is already pre-lit. Some of them are waiting for that hunky Donnie from Don't Go in the House to show up to throw a candle in their face. I like that the 70s method of mockbusters was to do the same plot, but add a disco. It was right of Abby, the Exorcist knockoff, to have its exorcism on the dance floor. At least they're not doing bad in school. They're easily passing their Shining Your Love class. And much like in Carrie, Sandra wants her boyfriend to get back at that Jennifer. And yes, Jennifer is still in the movie, but I'm more so thinking about fumigating my home for some reason, and watching Carrie.
Mama ran away. She didn't die.
Your mama died when you was 3, Jen.
Well, now we know Carrie's dad ran off with Jennifer's mom. It's reversed here in that Jennifer is the one who thinks her powers are evil, yet also like Carrie. That argument escalated quickly. Well, the movie is finally about Jennifer and is 1,000 times more batshit for it. Are they a family of snake handlers? Good thing that every horror movie in a school has a class that teaches specific plot points of the movie. He literally starts talking about religious practices with snakes.
If you mean penis worship, Sandra, why don't you just come out and say so?
Why do 70s teachers always have to bring up their dicks? Anyway, continue with the exposition class about the gift of the hill people.
But the power was gone. And God meant to take them.
I see.
Well, one of my students is evil. But if Jennifer is evil, Sandra will continue to be 100 times more evil. As in, she straight up tries drowning Jennifer in front of several people. She has to be saved by the empathetic Rue Snell, now on Sandra's bad side.
You tried to help that bitch.
You don't need me for all this. Either you're my friend or you're not.
Real friends let other friends drown a woman to death. While Jennifer takes a moment to pose for a trailer shot, we'll go ahead and take a commercial break to let her finish. We've got our own trailer shot. Okay, since we're back, is Jennifer done posing for the trailer? Yep, and she can also make snakes appear out of thin air. Sure! Look, I've just accepted the fact that not only is every class exposition happy, but they also contribute their own taglines.
Things and people are not what they seem.
Do you mind? Jennifer is trying to compliment Tommy's poem. She continues having a tough time at home and at school. Look at these predicaments.
What about my dinner?
There's some casserole in the refrigerator.
We're out of eggs.
I sure hope she buys some eggs. And this is before she takes a shower and gets her first diarrhea shits. Look, if you shit in the shower, they are definitely going to laugh at you.
Please give me back my clothes.
Is she being bullied by teen girls or the ghosts of Stephen King bullies?
On the bright side, since it is PG, that means she won't be sawed in half by the killer from Pieces. The assholes put all of her things on top of the pipes, but were nice enough to at least leave a ladder. Psych! They take pictures of her naked and falling into the pool. This year's yearbook will be adults only.
But Dad is still having the more tragic night.
The casserole got burnt.
Just eat some pork rinds, you know you want to.
The only thing to keep her company is the theme music. Okay, seriously, is the cat the one talking to her? This will definitely get brought up in Plot Points 101, maybe.
Mr. Reed, how would you explain a girl who had, crazy kinks?
What kind of class is this?
I trust the friendly teacher as much as the evil students.
I can handle it. I really can, Mr. Reed.
Do me a favor. Call me Jeff.
Spoken like someone who definitely has naked pictures of Jennifer. Oh, by the way, Sandra has a crush on Mr. Reed now.
You can't make me go. I have a right to be here. He belongs to me. Sandy loves me. You stay away from him.
This plot point comes out of midair like a snake.
Sandra is sadistic and a liar. Despite what she said earlier, there is photographic evidence that she did in fact go out with Barbarino. And she has her heavies try to seduce Conscience Girl into also wanting revenge on Jennifer, or else.
What'd you do that for?
You want to be alone with me, don't you?
Yeesh, he's a shoo-in for the frat from King Frat, and dear lord is that not a good thing. And yes, he straight up rapes her. Every non-evil character in this movie deserves their own revenge story. I am never trusting a member of the Ruhypnol family ever again. Hell, while all of this is going on, Jennifer finds her cat dead. The villains actually bought her favorite kitten and then left it for dead in her locker. This movie isn't a fraction as good as Carrie, but my god, do I want to see the bullies get messed up several times as much.
Show me the way. The true way.
And with snakes too. Now I know the answer to why did it have to be snakes. It was Sandra who actually bought the cat so she could blame Jennifer on the cat's death, because much like King bullies, they are potential serial killers. They're so evil that the revenge plot lines combine to go after their common enemy.
You're really with me now, Jane? Yes, I promise.
There's something I like about this being part Carrie, part I Spit on Your Grave, part John Wick, part and part Willard. Hell, Mr. Reed is actually fired for suggesting that it does matter who really killed the cat.
When the reptiles take over the world, you can care for their young.
Granted, he is a weird teacher.
Better get that snake put in the bag fast because Sandra is seriously trying to talk Jennifer's dad into letting them inside their house at night to surprise Jennifer. And that surprise, sadistically posing like they're the Heathers branch of the Manson family. They drive up to Jennifer's like they're gonna commit an assault on Precinct 13. This isn't a gang of bullies. This is every gang Charles Bronson has ever killed. Chris may be one of my favorite bullies in movie history, but let it be known that Amy Johnston as Sandra is pretty good too. Oh, I forgot to add that it's also part Last House on the Left.
How evil is Sandra? Listen to her theme!
Subtle. I guess she's gonna force Jennifer into a game of rollerball. I'm starting to like the lighting and cinematography of this sequence. Even the camera being damp adds to the mood. And with the bullies taunting her with meows, I think they only have a few minutes left to live. Which is good, because here's a look that says there's only a few minutes left of the movie. Let's make those snakes appear again out of nowhere. And there's Mr. Reed's penis. Revenge time.
Yeah, snake 'em to death.
It's such a quick climax that most of it is in slow motion, with them getting strangled with snakes. But it's also kinda great because some of them are as big as a house, these dummies.
This is still pretty satisfying.
This climax doesn't even need a boing. When Sandra tries getting away and the snake appears in the back, I don't know how to say it other than I love this shot so much.
Oh, and Chris got killed in an exploding car, so yes, Sandra also gets killed in an exploding car. But is the snake okay?
This is enough death and mayhem for the world's worst dean of students to put Jennifer on double secret probation. Unless, of course, she gives some kind of stinger, since Carrie had one too. She's dead. But maybe we should help get Jeff his job back after the end credits.
I have walked to the river, I have seen glory and I...
Not the worst religious movie I ever watched.
Well, Jennifer was theatrical, and it did make $2 million after costing only $1 million, so technically it doubled its money. It was inspiring enough to skip the other sequels and go right to Jennifer 8. One of the more positive reviews was from Janet Maslin, who said, "All things considered, Jennifer could have been a whole lot worse."
It could have been worse is a funny review, but it's also true.
It's a 100% blatant knockoff, but since it follows Carrie's structure, it does have a big build-up, and it makes these bullies do so many evil things that you do want to stick it through just to see them get their comeuppance. A comeuppance which is the best part of the movie. It's pretty entertaining. Lisa Pelican and Amy Johnston are good in the movie, so it is a Carrie knockoff that I'd rather watch than any Carrie remake or sequel. And for you Jennifer completists, there is a DVD and Blu-ray.
Now that I'm done, I can finally fix the bend in my glasses that happened after getting hit in the face with that Bolero tape. I still want to know who did that!
My purse. Please give me back my purse.